I thought I'd mix things up and go for the jazzy intro today because I'm in a good mood. Hope you had a nice weekend, lads.
Very good, very good. Not so bad.
It was all right.
It was all right. Let's go straight into the chat and see who's in. Dylan, I hope you are well. So, of course, Premier League Roundup show, joined by Josh and Shaun. Thank you very much, lads, for coming back on again. Should we get cracking?
Go for it, mate.
Right then. So, I believe we will start with you, Josh, with... I got sat down for this game and I was hoping Arsenal would lose, as I do every week. But Leicester 0, Arsenal 2. I mean, you've got to give it to them. That first half, they were very good.
Yeah, and Aaron Ramsdale definitely man the match in that game. He had an unbelievable game. That save he did was just unbelievable. I said that save, there was a lot of saves he made. But just really kept him in front. Arsenal had a good start. Then after that, I thought Leicester were a better team. But like I said, Ramsdale was just on fire. And that's why they managed to get the clean sheet and get the win. But I didn't think Leicester played that badly. They've been getting into a bit of form last couple of weeks. He's had a slow start of the season. And I didn't think they played that badly. They created a few chances. But Arsenal on the counter-attack were much more clinical. And I think that's just what decided that game, really, whether it was most clinical. And that's why Arsenal won, I think. Yeah, Ramsdale was definitely man of the match. And well done, Arsenal.
Yeah, one absolutely outstanding save in there, that is for sure. I see us in the chat. Kent, I hope you are well. James, Sharky, even everyone, great day yesterday. Irons, that is for sure. Kent enjoyed it yesterday. Liverpool, bring on Liverpool. Just hope we have a go. We should have a go. I hope so. Shaun, next up for you. Watford 0, Southampton 1. What a riveting game, I'm sure.
Well, Southampton, did they win last week as well? They started to sort of string a few wins. Almost feel like the season starting to begin a little bit. They win last week.
They drew to Burnley last week. Obviously, they lost in the cup, but they won the week before that against Leeds. They are picking up a bit of form, yeah.
That was 1-0 as well, wasn't it, against Leeds? Yeah. I think myself and Josh tipped Southampton to go down. I remember saying last week. But you sort of sense that, don't know, it's like almost like the season's just begun. I know they lost to Chelsea on pens, didn't they? They might keeping a clean sheet away to Watford. That's no mean feat. Like, I know Ranieri, when he come in, did he win 3-0 last week? Watford, did they beat someone, didn't they? Or
5-2 Everton.
5-2, that's it.
5-2, yeah. I know they give someone a bit of a hiding. It would surprise me. For most people, probably expected Watford to win this one. Going into it. So for some to go there and then keeping a clean sheet and nicking it 1-0, I think that's a great result, to be honest. And it wouldn't surprise. I know we tipped Southampton to go down. I think we thought because a bit of a lack of firepower, and I don't know. They got a clean sheet's great result, and I didn't see this coming. I didn't see him winning against Leeds, really. But yeah, it's worth keeping an eye on Southampton. What have they got now? Is that 5 points? No, it's 6 points, 7 points in the last 3 games. Is that right?
Something around that, yeah.
That's good going. Do you know what I mean? That's the sort of points total which pulls you up. So I haven't seen the league table today. I'm not sure where they're sitting, but if you put a run of results together like that, you win 2, you draw 1, you're going to be happy if you're bottom half table side. So yeah, I think that's a really, really good result for Southampton. And I do have a little soft spot for Southampton as well. So I would like them to stay up.
It is crucial, some of these games, we'll come on to the Norwich Leeds game and watching or listening to 606 coming back last night. These games are just so crucial. Let's head into the chat then. Gary, I hope your evening, hope you had a nice holiday. We certainly did. Anyone above us? No, Spurs are 8th and Villa are 15th. But we will get onto that later on. Simon, good evening. Grandad, good evening, everyone. I think Ramsdale could push Pickford out. I don't think, well, to be honest, if he keeps on going, but I do think, Shaun's shaking his head. I do think Arsenal fans and some fans are getting a bit too overexcited about 5 good games, I think.
Yeah.
If it wasn't Southgate, then maybe another manager might put Ramsdale in. But I think Southgate likes Pickford too much. And
You've also got to remember Ramsdale. I think is he still the under-21 keeper, or is he now in England number 3? But he was only in England number 3 because Pope's been injured.
Yeah.
So he's going to have to wait his turn. I'm a big fan of Johnson at West Brom, but obviously he's now playing Championship football. But I think he's leaving in the summer. So if someone like West Ham might be looking for a new keeper, do you know what I mean? I think he's a very good. I think he's coming up 30, but he's probably got a good 5 years left. And if he's coming up for about 8 million, I could see him being in the Premier League and still pushing for that spot as well. So we've got 3 or 4 keepers who I say are good keepers, but we haven't really got one that is top drawer. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dean Henderson as well in there. So.
Yeah. But what's happened with his career now? He had a brilliant season at Sheffield United on loan. Went back to United to challenge De Gea. He sort of didn't really give him a go, and then De Gea's hit a good form. He's been United better players for a few months. So what's happening with Henderson? Where is he going now? So
we've got a lot of keepers, on the fringe, and I agree, Shaun. We haven't just got one fantastic, outstanding keeper. He says hello to Simon. Every goal West Ham scored, I thought poor Josh would get some stick from Jake today. I'm not going to say anything. I'll leave it to the chat because I'm sure the chat and the people watching will say something, but we will get on to the game because I'm sure we're going to whiz through the other games. We'll talk about Spurs for a while and then we'll get to the Aston Villa West Ham game and we will focus on that for today's show. Brilliant goal with Che Adams for Southampton, says Kent. Gary says, not going to say anything about the Villa game. I respect that young man too much. Season ticket back on, John. You get these offers, and I like that, Gary, the way you do it every other time you come on, you just slide that back in there. Right then, Dylan says Ramsdale should be England's number 1. He should be if he continues this form consistently for a considerable amount of time, but I'm not going to say anything after 5 good games personally. But anyway, moving on, I think it's Josh coming back to you. Liverpool 2, Brighton 2. Liverpool looked like they were cruising at 2-0.
Yeah, and my mate from school was at that match and he said that they were battering them until then and then just went to pot really. And I just think I didn't expect it at all. I don't think anyone did. Just team like Liverpool. I know Brighton have actually had a good start to the season, but I just don't think no one expected it really, did they? But I thought that Liverpool's 2 goals they took really well. I had Salah captain in fantasy team. He didn't score. He got an assist. That was it. But yeah, I think Brighton, I thought they did well to peg them back, didn't they? And didn't they have someone had disallowed goal as well, didn't they? I forgot who it was now. It wasn't on the telly, so I couldn't watch it. But yeah, I thought Brighton, they had a few chances as well. I've seen the highlights. Basuma fired one wide on a good run. And that Trossard, I think he's a very good player. Really good. I thought he had another good game. He scored, didn't he, as well? For disappointing for Liverpool to drop points against a team like Brighton. Now, although they've had a good start, you'd still expect it to be a banker for them, but they didn't win. But I think Brighton deserved it, to be honest. I saw the chances they had, and I thought the least they deserved was a point. But yeah, disappointing.
Yeah. Liverpool are dropping points, ready to come up against the mighty Hammers next weekend. There was a bit of Shaun in this next game. There was a bit of nerves on I think it was the 60th minute or the 50th minute for Chelsea fans when it was still 0-0. But a couple of Reece James goals got Chelsea over the line comfortably in the end.
Yeah, I don't like talking about Chelsea a lot, to be honest, Jay. I know your lot hate Tottenham, but you're like 3rd or 4th on the list for Tottenham fans, West Ham. I'm going to forget Chelsea. I'm going to talk about Newcastle, if that's all right.
That's fine.
What's going on? What's going on? About 3-4 weeks ago, there was hysteria about these sheikhs buying the club. There's parties in the streets in Newcastle. They took 2 weeks to sack Steve Bruce. This apparent new ownership lift they were going to get on the field. They've lost 3 games on the spin. I'm reading today their talk of now possibly Eddie Howe coming in. What's going on already? Do you know what I mean? I know I was expecting people like Steve Howe, Alan Shearer, ex-players or like Geordie lads to be involved. I've heard of nothing. Do you know what I mean? I know they wanted Ashley out, but what are these multi-billionaires doing? What are they waiting for? I know January's coming. I get they want maybe get a new boss and then spend the money, but they've just chucked away 9 points straight away.
Yeah.
They undermined Steve Bruce the week before the Spurs game. It's in the press he was going to go. He's going to go. He's not going to be in charge. Then they made an amateur statement saying Steve Bruce will be in charge for the game. Well, obviously he's your manager. You don't come out and say our manager's going to manage the team. So that's making him look stupid straight away. And then I think they lost. I can't remember they lost the middle game, but it showed a bit of improvement. Chelsea are a good side. That's a 3-0 home defeat. What are they waiting for? The squad is poor. They need a manager in there who can grind out a draw here and there at least. Like I know they're not cut adrift down there, but if they're thinking, oh, we'll wait till January. I think we said the other week there's something like 12, 13, 14 games to January when they sacked Bruce. Well, you can't wait until you're 6, 7, 8 games into that before you think, right, now we got to start picking up points. Because, like I said a minute ago, like Watford with Ranieri, I know they always sacked the manager. They had a great win against Everton. Southampton have now got strung 7 points in 3 games. I know Aston Villa are getting sucked into it a little bit, but they can't rely on them all to come down like that. They've got the owners need. I don't know if they've got any footballing people there. That's what I said about Alan Shearer, but they need to get their heads screwed on fast.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, people are saying so. Big Sam, they've got to get somebody in, you know, that's gonna just consolidate them, a voice for the changing room, I think, and they need to get that done ASAP. Let's scroll up in the chat and see what you guys are saying. Talking about the Brighton game, Brighton good side push up on Liverpool, took chances and good rewards. Mike, hope you are evening, guys. Hope you had a great holiday. It was good, that is for sure. 2 cracking goals from not Dan James. Crikey, he couldn't score 2 cracking goals, could he? Reece James. Newcastle are going to need some top players to keep them up. Yeah, I think it could almost be January, almost as if it's like panic buys in a way, just to chuck money at it and try and keep them up.
Who are they going to get? Realistically, no top players going to go there yet. They're going to have to get some middle of the road players or players that are struggling to get games for other teams. And they'll be going there for a mini payday. So, speaking for my own club, are they going to come in for the likes of Dele Alli and Harry Winks? That's the sort of level of player I see them going for. But both of those are in shocking form. So, if you're going to get someone in, they've got to hit a bit of form. They can't have 5, 6 games to build up a bit of form. They need to come in and hit the ground running. I just can't think where they go with it. Especially
what I heard was that the old Roma manager is going to come in until the end of the season just to try and keep them up, and then next season they're going to get like a big name one in and then start like spending all the money, and that's when they're going to get the big players. What I've heard, I don't know how true that is, but
I think that'd be their plan. But they need to start moving now, really.
Yeah. Let's go into the chat and scroll up. Tufty and the Saudi fan base go into the championship. Newcastle, despite the money, are hurtling towards relegation. They need a firefighter, not a big time Charlie. I completely agree. This is one for you, Shaun. I don't hate Spurs. They provide the world with so much comedy entertainment.
Will James be laughing tomorrow if Antonio Conte signs the contract?
Wow, we'll get onto that. We'll get onto that very shortly. Dinkorp, hope you are well. Reece James' goals were pretty good, to be honest. They were. Simon, here we go. We'll talk about Nuno a little bit later on. Get Nuno at Newcastle. We'll talk about that in a little while, Shaun. Avram Grant was just spotted in Tottenham. No, that's quality.
They've got a little.
Winks Darley up for a scrap, not sure. I saw Nuno eating a beef burger at McDonald's. I saw Mick McCarthy on his way to Tottenham. This is class. This is. I would take Dele Alli on loan in January. Moyes would turn him around. Oh, that's a shout.
Possible. It's possible. He's got bundles of talent. He's proved that. His record speaks for itself. He's just lost weight. It's just a matter of when you lose your way, is it hard to bring it back? You know what I mean? He's lost his weight for about 2 seasons now, but I don't know. He's a hard one, really.
Someone who I bring in is with Moyes is someone like Ross Barkley, because I think he had him at Everton as a youngster and he liked him quite a lot. And I thought at Villa he was good at the start, but once he had his injury, since come back from that, he was never the same. But I feel like under Moyes, if we can turn Lingard back into dead good, then I feel like why not someone like Barkley? I feel like because he's with him before at Everton as a youngster, it might be a good fit for you.
To be honest, I turned my nose up at that then until I went and I looked, and he's 27 years old and Lingard was 28, and you link it to Lingard. I don't know. It's an interesting shout there, that's for sure. But one thing before we get move on, and I've got a couple of questions to ask you about the Villa game later on, Josh. But did I see when they put the teams that was that Aaron Ramsey on the bench for Villa? Did I hear that?
Oh no, it's not the one who used to be at Arsenal. It's a different. But just with the same name. It's,
everybody went, really? Is he at Villa? Everybody in your way and went, what?
No, it's just a different one. It's not actually him.
I see. Luke, hope you're well. Good shout for Barkley. Dele needs to forget the outside stuff. He just needs to play football. Why sack Bruce and not have a manager lined up? Bonkers, yeah. I agree. Right there, moving on, man. The upset of the weekend, Josh. Man City 0, Crystal Palace 2, and a controversial sending off just before half time as well for Aymeric Laporte.
It's a madness, but Palace have caused an upset away at Man City the other year as well, didn't they? When Townsend scored that unbelievable goal, so they've done it before. And the red card, I'm not sure. Apparently, it was declared now the goal scoring opportunity. I've seen it back, but I'm just happy to see that one of the big six have lost, because I think it's just nice when you see one of the big teams lose, isn't it? Well, Palace, I thought they played quite well. It wasn't just the 2 goals that they had. They had a few chances as well. Gallagher played really well. Elise, the one they got in from Reading, he played really well. And that's the thing with that Palace squad. It's a really young squad. So they're good now. They're going to be brilliant in the future. So the future's looking bright for Palace. And to come to Man City and play that well and manage to get 3 points, that's just brilliant, isn't it? And you could say help with the 10 men, but they were winning before the Laporte got sent off. So yeah, City had a few chances as well, but I thought Palace probably had just as many. They had a few, well, maybe not just as many, but they had a few as well. More than everyone expected, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And Gallagher finished off at the end. He's one is going in my fantasy team probably next couple of weeks if he keeps this form up. He's playing really well. And yeah, it was just a really good performance from Palace. They've stood up to a few of the big teams this season. They got a point against Arsenal. They beat Spurs 3-1. They beat City 2-0 away. So they're not afraid of standing up to the big team for sure. And I think the future's definitely looking bright for Crystal Palace.
Yeah. Interesting comment here from Kent. Vieira to be City manager one day. He's turning Palace around, changing the I can't say this word, philosophy and way of playing. It was definitely going to go one way or the other for Crystal Palace this season. We've all said it was either going to go dramatically bad or it's going to be a success like it has been so far. Only a few teams left with a chance of the quadruple. Shaun, one team that's left with a chance of winning the quadruple. Right answers only.
Tottenham.
Oh my god.
West Ham.
Yes, that's what I wanted to hear. Erase Tottenham. Right, didn't say Tottenham. West Ham. There we go. Moving on. I would bring Sturridge as a super sub for West Ham. Maybe injury prone, but get lucky and you've got a great sub.
Jake.
He's not a Moyes player.
Jake, sorry to butt in, mate.
Yeah.
But I know Josh has said that, and a few of your followers have commented about players that West Ham should be going for. I'm hearing all names that have been a little bit washed up and maybe need like a comeback. I think your fans maybe need to wise up and realise sort of you need to be going for a player of a bit of higher caliber. Like you're in a race here for Champions League football. You shouldn't be thinking, oh, I go for him and him. They're all what I call scraps of players, really. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's January coming. You haven't got four owners. No, there's talk of an investor coming in. Like if Tottenham get a new manager, they're going to throw some money at January. We're still hoping to get in that fourth spot. If United stick with Ollie, they're going to limp to the line if they get there.
Yeah.
So all this rubbish about Barkley, Sturridge. But where is Sturridge? I can't remember where he is. You know what I mean? So if West Ham want to beat a team, still very well put a run together. What are they, fourth in the league at the moment? West Ham, are they fourth? You're fifth, fourth? Do you know what I mean? If you're there, you want to be there in May, okay? So let's get your fans, be a bit ambitious. Demand from the owners, right? We got a chance this year, okay? Demand from the owners, go for someone slightly higher caliber. Pick the spot where you need someone, and don't look, oh, who's not getting a game somewhere else? You don't want that. You haven't got time for Moyes to bring the best out in Barkley or Sturridge. You know what I mean? You want to. If you make a quality signing in January, you go on, and then everyone's chasing you. Then, so maybe your fans just be a bit more ambitious. No, you're not used to being there. Last year you had a good year, but you've never really been up there. Be ambitious. Demand it now, because you might only get one pop at it.
Yeah, well, a lot of people in the chat are agreeing with you. Sharky, Hammerhead as well. We'll take Kane for a fiver. It's starting to come in now. I'm sure. Oh my God, I am sure Shaun will have something to say when we come on to the game in about 30 seconds time. Right, let's go. Let's get on with it then. Come on, Shaun. Spurs 0, Man United 3. You didn't watch the game. I don't blame you.
I didn't watch the game. I had other family commitments, but I also made sure I kept up those commitments and avoided it. But obviously, I've seen the highlights. I've seen bits and bobs, and you see clippets on the social media. It was just a follow-on from the second half in the West Ham game. So I thought we were quite good against West Ham. Not bad against West Ham in the first half. Second half, West Ham just set up to nullify us, and it was very easy for them, really. I thought a 0-0 probably been a fair result in the West Ham game, and it had been a bit of a drab affair, really. But we just carried that on into the Man U game, really. Man U aren't a good side. It's all about balance, really, and I think we haven't had a shot on target in the Premier League for over 2 hours now.
2016, I think.
The last attempt was, I think, your keeper saved their tame header in the West Ham game. It was just really, really poor. And I'm sure you'll ask me in a minute about the manager, but when a manager's out of ideas, what he normally does, he does a like-for-like sub. I don't know if you've seen that on there. Tottenham's got a big old stadium now, and it's very, very acoustic. Like, I'm not sure if you've been there yet, but it's built with atmosphere in mind. So if you've got 50,000 boos, well, you've seen the boxing, the noise they make at the boxing when it's there, or a concert. If you've got 50,000 boos, that is going to be loud. Yeah. It's not escaping anywhere. It is going to rumble around that. It is loud. And I've always said for a while, Stephen Bergwijn and Lucas Moore are similar types of players. And the Celso was having a stinker. He could have played Kane and Son in a few times, fluffed his lines. But if you know he's poor and then you do a like for like, taking off Moore for Bergwijn, it's not going to change anything. And do you know what I mean? Obviously, it just sort of fizzled out and limped. The fans turn. You don't know what you're doing. I just think, if you can put it this way, if you're a manager or a team and you're conceding too many goals, I think is that the fourth or fifth time you've conceded 3 in a game in the league. I think if you're conceding too many, which is 3 a game, and then you're not having shots on target, where on earth are you going? There's no positive spin on it. There's none. United opinion on this game, I knew they'd win. I thought they'd beat us 3-1. I actually thought we might score with that ropey defence. We might have done if we'd better final ball, but a poor final ball's been the story of most of the season. So there it is. The game went. The game was called El Sakico before, because whoever was going to lose was probably going to get the axe. So, and also it's debatable whether both teams are probably better off losing or not. That's be a strange thing to say. Sometimes you've got to think of the bigger picture. You're better off losing a game and being booed off, or grinding out a 1-0 or 0-0, and the same rubbish rumbles on. But so here we are.
Before I come to you about Kane, before I come to you about the whole manager situation, Josh, from a neutral's perspective about Spurs, what's your outlook and overlook and review of what's going on at Spurs at the moment?
Well, yeah, I thought Spurs took the lead, didn't he? But it was disallowed in the game. He was a minus Romero. But yeah, it was an awful performance. I still don't know, out of all the managers that three managers Spurs have had in the last couple of years, that every single one of them sees something in Eric Dyer. I don't know how, but they all pick him. Pochettino didn't pick him as much as Mourinho and Nuno did, but Mourinho picked him pretty much every game, and Nuno does as well. I don't know what they see in him. I don't think he's that good of a player. As for the manager, I didn't expect him to get sacked that soon. I expected Daniel Levy to give him at least 1 or 2 more games, but I suppose it must have just been the fans they've got on the back, and then he must have just thought, Levy must just thought, if we're going to keep getting abuse, I might have to just sack him. But maybe it's the right thing to do, because it's Conte free, I think, still at the minute, and I think Conte could be the only one. Is there any others? Zidane, he's not going to come probably to Spurs, so I think Conte is probably one of the only ones you could go for. I'd go for him. Steve Bruce.
honestly, Shaun, just for a laugh, what would be one word if you came on this show tomorrow night before you go on holiday and Steve Bruce is Tottenham manager? What's one word that you'd say?
I need more than one.
Oh, go on then.
just close the club down. Shut down.
Before we do come back to you, Shaun, let's head into the chat. 20 people watching, hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And let's dive into the chat. Okay, then. So, about Spurs, Kent says Toothless, avoid of any ideas, no intensity, no pressing, no shots on target equals Tottenham versus Man U. We need to try for that striker, Yusuf Nesri. That's the guy Moyes wants. That is the guy Moyes did want back in January. Spurs were awful. They were so flat and devoid of energy. If Tottenham keep playing like that, they won't even get into the top 10. Phil Jones to Spurs. Oh, my Lord. Lingard already halfway to West Ham, being a West Ham player. He's not signed a new contract at United yet, so that shows his intentions. You never know what's going to happen. Spurs were the ideal team for Ollie to keep his job. They certainly were. We're off to Wolves in November. That's going to be the next match day vlog. So we're going back up to the Midlands yet again for the Wolves game. Absolutely buzzing fun. Lingard will go to Newcastle for the payday.
See that
Eric Dyer is just a pound hand slab head. And let's go here. They pick Dyer because Davinson Sanchez is a farce of a player. I blame Kane for the whole thing. They're special like their fans, except Shaun. Dyer. Oh, where's that comment gone there? Dyer as a player, no, but a top man for what he did at Newcastle, certainly. Spurs actually play recordings. The acoustics are not that good. Woo. Shaun is shaking his head. Victor Moses to Spurs. Conte loves him. Could you imagine that? Victor Moses back in the Premier League. Everton play Spurs next Sunday. That would be interesting. we could get Lingard and Martial in January. If not, Hlozček will be a strong candidate with the Czech businessman injecting funds. We're on a big time top talent with the Moyes mentality coming soon. I completely agree. And there we go. Eric, I hope you are well. I saw my vlog. Thank you very much. You greatly enjoyed it. I was there, but unfortunately in the Trinity stand and not with the Hammers fans. I suspect that was painful for you. Right then, let's move on to Burnley 3, Brentford 1. Is that another surprise, Josh?
Yeah, I think Brentford have been in brilliant form to start off the season, so I didn't expect that. But again, Burnley, if we look for half time, they were dominating in the first half. And the only real chance Brentford got second half was the goal. So I think that was Burnley's first win of the season. So they needed that. Not looking good for Norwich now after they've won, after Burnley won and Norwich lost again. But yeah, I thought that's a great result for Burnley. Cornet, he's looked quite a good player. He scored again. Lowton also scored. I think he did anyway. He used to play for us. Yeah, it was just, you don't often see Burnley batter someone. Normally, if they ever win, it's like 1-0 or something like that because they're such a long ball team. But no, fair play to them. They dominated in that one. They deserve to win.
Yeah, and Joe, I just couldn't talk about Spurs for that long, so we had to have a little break. And Shaun, Nuno out, Conte in. Thoughts?
Well, firstly, let's not count our chickens with Conte yet, because we've been here before. I think we spoke in the summer. I could talk all night about this, really, and bore you. But I think in the summer when we were chatting quite a lot about we had the managerial search, didn't we? And it went on and it rumbled on. They couldn't quite work out what they wanted. Tottenham changed. Well, they didn't change. Their sort of technical director, Steve Hitchin, is still there, but he almost like moved aside to get Paratici in. And when it was a bit of a farce, and then because Hitchin had like a short list, for whatever reason that was going nowhere. So then Paratici come in and got a new short list, and it sort of it was getting embarrassing. That's obvious, and we were getting about 2 weeks before kickoff, and next thing you know, Nuno, who didn't have a job, they just give it to him. Right? It never felt like a good fit. I think the Spurs journalists were a bit like, doesn't feel like the man that Tottenham needed at that time. But and then when you look at the contract they gave him a 2-year deal. I think he's on about, I don't know what Moyes is on, but he's Nuno's on at 4 million a year. Bear in mind, Jose was on 12 million a year, and if Conte signs tomorrow, he's going to be on 15 million a year, and that's up there with Klopp and Pep. Okay, so Nuno's on 4 million a year. That tells you he's always going to be a bit short term. I think the number one man they want in the job in the summer was Pochettino back. That might leave it like a farce, but PSG dug their heels in. They would not. Apparently, he wanted to come back because he doesn't get on with Leonardo there. So, but PSG would not release him. The only way he could leave is if he publicly come out and said, "I want to leave." Now, he's a bit of a PSG legend when he in his playing days, Pochettino. So he wasn't going to say that. So after wasting about a month on that, then Tottenham just dwindled down the list. So Nuno was never the right fit. I don't think the appointment always probably look a bit lackluster from the outside as well. A bit like, Wolves fans were saying he got boring at Wolves the last year, almost sort of fizzled out badly there. Started to see, and the players that have come in, Paratici's brought the players in mainly. And I've been impressed with the boys he's got in. Like Emerson Royal at right back, I think since he's played, he's been one of the better players. Romero is a class act. I think Spurs fans are already joking, like, when's he moving on? Because he's going to go to a bigger club. Because he does look class.
Antonio gave him the run around. He was like halfway back to North London when Antonio nearly scored that goal.
Yeah, well, he wasn't even. It was Kane marking him, wasn't it? But anyway, the West Ham goal. If you think it's a video from behind the goal, the defending, and there's 5 Tottenham people in the box defending, and all of them just didn't do their job. That goal, I think they got beat. The ball should never land at your feet in that part of the goal from the corner. So anyway, so yeah, the Nuno fit. First game of the season, we beat Man City and played really well. It wasn't like we parked the bus and hung on. We actually deserved it. So, but from then on, it's sort of we were top of the league, weren't we, for 2 weeks? But the 2 wins that followed the Man City game, they were iffy ones. Wolves battered us a bit, but you know what Wolves like? They have days where they can't hit a barn door. They can have 30 chances and none of them are at the target. That's Wolves. And we had one of them days. I think United got away with it against Wolves in the same fashion. Yeah, and then obviously then we let him free at Palace. I'd let him off that one because Dyer went off injured, and then Tanganga got sent off. On the Eric Dyer bashers, he's actually had not a bad season. He's been better under Nuno than I think he has under Jose. He has been better, and I think managers like him basically. I think that he's obviously got something there which a lot of fans don't see. And then we shipped. I think one of the big alarm bells to me with Nuno, and I come on after that game, is when we lost 3-0 at Arsenal, because as I said, at 3:30 when the team come out, and we looked at that midfield, we were like, they're going to run through that midfield, and that's exactly what happened. And to this day, I don't know what he was thinking, dropping Oliver Skip. When we had the ball, he just sent all the midfielders up for the long ball. The tactics were atrocious, and as come out from the right sort of areas of the press, like the Football London, that the players didn't like. Apparently, he doesn't give a team talk about the opposition until the actual morning of the game, where a lot of coaches might build up through the week. So he might train. Then he calls the meeting like every team does the day of the kickoff, say 3 hours before, and then he goes through the tactics. So they almost got a couple of hours to prepare mentally for it. And in all fairness, we've looked like that because games we've gone out there, it's like, what are we doing here? So anyway, that followed Chelsea, Man United, West Ham. The West Ham game was disappointing because I come on and told you that he rested. Remember, he rested the whole team. We had a European game in the week, and he didn't take any of them over. But also, then I heard people weren't happy with that because it was making the ones that went to Europe feel not wanted and all this rubbish. But against West Ham, I thought you were there for the taking. I thought you looked quite leggy after Europe. I've been impressed with West Ham for a few seasons. I think in that game, it's probably the least amount of energy I've seen from West Ham, especially in the second half. Like Spurs going at half time, Spurs fans on Twitter were saying, if we just up it a little bit, they're there for the taking. You don't often say that about West Ham now lately. You don't often think, well, we could beat them if we up it a bit, because you're always up for a good fight and no easy games. So for us, then to come out in the second half, limp as you come, have no shots on target, was pathetic. But yeah, I'm not going to tempt fate. Conte was linked in the summer, and we didn't meet his demands. When I say demands, it'd be more he wants backing, he wants funds to strengthen. We've got Paratici in now. He had 3 or 4 brilliant seasons at Juve together as a pair. I think they've already drawn up a short list of what I'm ready. It could all fall through tomorrow, and we'd be like, who's coming next on the next show? But they're obviously get on as friends. I've read things like he's already drawn up a short list of 5, 6 players, and Paratici knows how to get a bargain. Most of these players will be good players in the Italian league who have got about 12 months left on the deal. He'd be on huge wages, but he's a world-class football manager. And more importantly, because the team, a lot of the team, I know we've brought a few have gone, but a lot of the team have been there a long time now, probably too long. Almost like they've got comfortable when it's a bit broken. Well, Conte's going to come in and take no messing at all. He'll tell them how it is. If they want to fall out, they'll fall out. I hope he comes. He was my number 1 choice in the summer. I think if he does come, I would not be surprised if he can fire him within 3 or 4 games again. He would change the formation. It'd probably be back 3. That could suit your favourite centre-back in Eric Dyer. Well, we got Joe Rodon at centre back as well. A lot of Tottenham fans rate him. He was at Swansea and he starts at Wales every game, but he hasn't had a look at. But someone with a strong personality who will be strong on the training ground. That wasn't Nuno. I mean, we need someone who's going to come in, pull some air out, tell them if they're not good enough, they're not good enough. Make a sub on 40 minutes. we'll get outplayed in games, and like West Ham, I think they made a sub until 75th minute.
Yeah.
Like that, we were creating nothing at all, and he made a sub as you scored your goal, and then on 2 with about 5 minutes to go. It's like you might as well not bother. So yeah, I'm hoping Conte signs it tomorrow and it's announced. I've read that, you can read all sorts of stories. I've read that he's taking training tomorrow already. He's straight in. So, it's like the press love a Conte and Tottenham wind-up story. He signed, and at the last minute, oh no, they couldn't agree terms. So let's wait and see. But I'm hoping he comes in. I've read he's been promised 100 million to spend on players in the summer. In January, they can probably ship out 3 or 4 and make another 60, 70 million as well. From a Tottenham perspective, let's hope it's a part of a good 2 years. Because let's be honest, if Conte does come, he won't stay long because he never does. But they need to get a grip and start turning the corner somehow. Right
then, Josh, you've managed to get away with it for 41 minutes and 23 seconds. Aston Villa 1, West Ham 4. We're going to go straight into it. Your thoughts, sending offs, last man's, challenges, the lot, 5 goals, go.
Yeah, well, we couldn't have had a worse start, could we? Ben Johnson, I thought, it was just a really unexpected goal. It was one from outside the box. He cut in onto his weaker left foot, and it was a great finish, to be fair. He could ask questions of Martinez in goal. I thought he could have saved it potentially, but you can't blame the goalie. We should have been more awake, and it's just can't if you concede in the first. It was just over 5 minutes, weren't it? You can't just let him cut in like that and give him that space. Like, it's just ridiculous. Like, I know he's coming onto his left foot, and his left foot might not be that good, but it clearly was because he managed to finish it. So, yeah, I'm not sure about the celebration either, by the way.
That's
I've seen where it's from. I have seen where it's from, yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's just poor defending and goalkeeping from the first goal. And then, really, neither team did anything until about the 35th minute where we got our goal. I thought your keeper Fabianski should have done a bit better for that goal. I don't know if you've seen any replays since you've got back from the match, but I thought maybe he could have stopped it. But yeah, that was a well worth goal, to be fair. And then I think straight after, just right on half time, you scored. It was another goal from outside the box, wasn't it? I forgot
it was. Yeah, Declan Rice.
Declan Rice, yeah. Again, I thought maybe you could ask questions of Martinez again, but again, you've got to close them down quickly. You can't give them that space outside the box. You've just got to get onto them, close them down. So again, I'm not blaming the goalie. And so half time, 2-1. We're still in the game. We haven't played great. We haven't played awful. Well, we weren't ridiculously bad, but we weren't either. And then we're in the game for a lot of the second half, but the red card, I thought the first foul by Courtney Hawes was more of a red card than the one he gave, because even the one by Courtney Hawes, I thought it was accidental, but he did like really catch him in the face, but it was accidental. And then the one that he gave, I thought, he said it was cleared and out of the goal scoring opportunity, but I thought he was going wide instead of going a bit wide instead of clean through. So I would have given the one before, not the Konza one.
I think that one there. I've watched a lot of replays of that Hawes one, and he's looking over and he has just stuck his forearm / elbow there. I think, I do agree with you. I thought that one was more of a red card, to be honest. I thought he should have been looking at that really more than the other one, to be honest with you. But the other one was a little bit more dodgy because, you make the point that it probably was going away from goal, and if he wasn't there, I don't think Ashley Young would have got there in time, and Bowen probably would have cut back and try and curled it into the far bottom corner. But carry on.
Yeah, I just think if he wouldn't have been clean through. He would have had to cut back and maybe find a teammate. I'm not sure the angle might have been too tight to shoot. I don't know, because it didn't actually happen. It did go foul. We'll never know. But I definitely thought the one before was more of a red card, and I think Ashley Young might have got there. I'm not sure. I don't know. But after that, we could, to be fair, after the red cards, we kept ourselves in the game. Considering we had 10 men, we had a few chances. That Fabianski one where Watkins headed it and he tipped it onto the bar. That was a great save. I thought if that one would have went, it would have been a different game. But considering we had 10 men, I thought we played well. And then you got 2 goals last 10 minutes, wasn't it, really? And I think once that third one went in, and we just went to pot then, and that's why the fourth one went in. I thought you definitely deserved to win, but I thought we had a few chances as well. I don't think it deserved to be 4-1. But I think he did deserve to win. But as I say, if that Watkins one went in, could have been a different game. But that third goal as well, it come from our own mistake as well, which is just really frustrating. But it's hard with 10 men. We're just trying to go for it. Dropped Tyrone Mings, the captain for the game as well, which I respected at the start of the game because he has been poor recently, and it didn't really work though. And yeah, I just think it wasn't a 4-1 game, but he did deserve the win, I have to say. We haven't been good. That's our 4th loss on the bounce now. We beat Everton and Man United 3-0. Everton 3-0, Man United 1-0 away. And then after that, you think we're going to have quite a good season, but we lose to Spurs. We were poor there. Wolves got a bit unlucky, but Arsenal was awful. And then West Ham, that was quite awful as well. So, yeah, we're on quite a losing streak at the minute. A lot of people are saying Dean Smith out, which I'm not sure yet.
That was my next question.
A lot of people are saying give him one more game. Southampton on Friday night have been in quite good form recently. And we have them away. We don't really have a good record there. We beat them last season away, and apart from that, we haven't really ever done well there. So I'm a bit nervous for that. And a lot of people are saying that's last game they're giving him, where I'd probably give him at least 3 or 4 more. I think if you just look at what he's done for the club. When he come in the Championship, we were 15th in the Championship. He come in October, but in December or January, we were still about 15th. And people were saying then, even after about 3 months, sack him. But from January or February, he got us on that 10-game winning run, managed to get us into 5th, and we got promoted through the playoffs. So that was a miracle how he done that. And then in second season, we were down and out. We were all relegated with about 3 games to go, and then he suddenly managed to pull it off, and we stayed up on goal difference. And then last season, I didn't expect to do as well as we did. We managed to come 11th, so it's been progress every year. But the board, they're not messing about. If there's no more progress this year, if we don't get as high as 11th this year, then they're not going to mess about. We've spent about 100 million on 5 quality players, so they're not going to mess about. If we lose next few, I think he will be gone. And it's harsh because I do think what he's done for the club, he's a Villa fan, he's a nice guy. I think it'll be harsh, but it's football really, isn't it? But I'd definitely give him a few more games.
My assessment of the game, I mean, we were right down in the corner of the away end, right down in the corner. So to be honest, we didn't even see the first goal pretty much. We had to watch it, leaning up against the screen up there. But one question I have got, though, the players come out and I start hearing silver lining. What on earth was going on there?
It's just one of the songs, isn't it?
But the West Ham fans were like, what the heck am I listening to here? Silver lining at a football match?
Hang on a minute. You come out to wrestling songs. Don't you come out to Triple H's music at half time?
No. There's a story to that. Because he is a West Ham fan, and the West Ham DJ Russell, you know him in the chat. He was asked to play that song once. But he's a West Ham fan, and coming out to the second half. I mean, coming out at the start, silver line, something about Villa, and the West Ham fans were like, "What on earth am I listening to here?"
Maybe it's just a lot of Championship teams that sing it. Then when I've been in, you haven't been in the Championship,
no.
So maybe it's that. But yeah.
One thing you didn't mention there was the 4-0 challenge on Nakamba. Now,
Yeah.
when we saw it live, I thought, oh, both players have gone down here, and then Marvellous Nakamba did a marvellous roll all the way over to the Hawthorns, and then 2 minutes later, he was back up and he was walking over again. It wasn't a good tackle.
Yeah, I just thought, because I was like, so at the time I was so annoyed. I was saying it should be a red, because I didn't think that the Cons one was a red card, because as I said, I thought he was going wide. So I thought if he gives that, he needs to give that, and then only typical Villa, he goes and gets the fourth goal, I can't remember, and I thought he shouldn't have even been on the pitch. But I haven't seen that one back. I've seen a few replays of the match. I haven't seen it since. I thought at the time it was a red card. I'm not sure though. But yeah, he did go and score the goal at the end, which he knew would happen because it's Villa. And I thought the atmosphere when I was watching the telly, I thought when we had a few chances and when we scored, it was good. But I don't think it was as good as it has been in recent weeks. Like Everton at home, it was brilliant. But I don't think it's been as. I don't think we were that good as support yesterday. So that was disappointing. I didn't go to the match because I do live in Liverpool and it's a long way to Birmingham 4:30 when it's the end of half term, going back to school the next day. So I didn't go, but I did watch it and tell you I'm not too impressed.
The atmosphere wasn't fantastic in there. A couple of times when you did have momentum, the Villa fans did start. So they were giving it large down in that corner. Especially there was a few lads down there giving it large when it went 1-1, and I think it's fair to say the West Ham fans gave it back again when it went 3-1 and 4-1. That's for sure. But yeah, from the Villa boys, no noise as soon as it went 3-1. That stand down there completely emptied at 3-1. It was cheerio. But let's go into the chat and take some of your comments and assessments of the game. Don't worry, Josh. At least the Claret and Blue scored 5. Villa awful 2 red cards. Defo. Villa are struggling to find the formation to fit players for it to work. The Grealish hole is massive. Yeah, Johnson pocketed Bailey yesterday, which I thought was going to be quite an issue. Their only real threat was from long throws. They treated that like a corner. They sent the centre backs up for long throws, which I was surprised about. But
yeah, we have this set piece coach, and he's been working with them into all that. Just get on with the corners as well. Just get it in the mix, and on these short routines, just get it in there. It'd be pretty stupid. I thought. I don't really see the point of a set piece coach, to be honest. Like, got everything coaches nowadays. We have sleep coaches and everything.
Well said, Josh. Well said. Watkins looked a threat. He did work really hard. He certainly did. To be honest, the scoreline did flatter us a little bit. Villa are a pretty good team. Yeah, we scored 2 tap-ins in the last 10 minutes and the party started. And yeah, probably flattered us a little bit. Hammerhead says VAR needs to be more ruthless. They can't be feeling bad if they possibly have to send 2 players off in the same team. It's football, and sometimes that happens, unfortunately. I just think if Villa focus on the football rather than gamesmanship, they would do much better. Dean Smith always struck me as a bit of a championship manager, and he's had money. Villa should be doing better. Dean Smith has credit in the bank. He will get it right. When you lose Grealish, it's always going to take time to adjust. Yeah, I agree. Let's have a look here. Konza looked like he was crying when he got sent off. He's an East London boy, is he? Didn't know that.
Yeah, he's a Bears fan.
Oh.
That's more than in January then.
Yeah.
He hasn't been linked with them, to be fair, so let's hope we can keep him. He has been quite good for us.
Yeah, we are going to have the Premier League Predictions League back next week as well, with all of the people giving their predictions and the table. It wasn't a red, but 4-0 needs to be careful. Been looking like a walking card for a few weeks. 50-50 old-fashioned tackle. No need for all the roles from the Villa play. Yeah, Jam Roly-Poly was what was coming from the West Ham end towards Marvellous Nakamba. But there we go. Josh is disappointed. I'm happy, of course I am. But one game left, and you thought this was now or never, didn't you, Shaun, for Norwich? Norwich 1, Leeds 2.
I did. As you know, I like a little bit of a bet on the football, so I always check the odds. I think Leeds, the price the book gave Leeds was very, very generous. I think it was the biggest price, the most unlikely versus Norwich all season, and I don't think Leeds have been brilliant this season. So a game like this, it was a game where Norwich had a chance. I did see the game. I think it was quite even.
Yeah.
I think the Leeds. I hear a lot. I've said before about it. We've gone on about Leeds a few times. You hear a lot of hype about Bielsa. The Leeds fans absolutely idolise him. I get it. He got him up, but I think he's starting to be. He's a bit old and stubborn. And he's got no plan B. So even a team like Norwich can sort of work Leeds out now. And he's got a small squad there. You take out. I know Phillips is back at the weekend and Rafinha, but then he's missing Bamford up front, and he's got an outward sort of Moreno up there. I just think the squad's so small. If he hasn't got his strongest 11, a team like Norwich have got a good chance. But it's Norwich, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's Norwich, and I think the fans even booed him off, didn't they, at full time? So I think the fans they're very, very loyal bunch. I know Norwich in the bit in the middle of nowhere, but they get like 23,000 in League One when they were down that low. So they're very, very loyal. I don't think they're expecting to ever be a huge club, but I think they're getting bored of winning a league, then coming up and then just not having a go. I think at the weekend they did have a go, but the lack of quality. I think they got Tim Krul goals still, haven't they? And I don't know if he's been Premier League class for a couple of years. Do you know what I mean? I think the winner, he could have done better. I think I do rate Cantwell, the midfielder, but he's fallen out with the manager.
Yeah.
So they've had work, so he's not even making the squad. Do you know what I mean? They've got that Billy Gilmore on loan.
Yeah.
He's talented, but a young lad. He's on the bench. So like Pookie's not really Premier League class. He's a bit like that Mitrovic at Fulham. He'll bag you 10, 15 in the championship. You come up and you think it's just a lump up front. You know what I mean?
It's a massive ever-growing problem for Norwich because they are the yo-yo club. They go up, they go down, they go up, they go down. Let's go into the chat before we go on to quick predictions for tonight's game because it kicks off in 2 minutes. So we better get on with it then. So what a player Rafinha is I'd love him at West Ham. Oh, Shaun is violently shaking his head there.
The only reason I say that, he's very talented, but I'm afraid he's going to be out of West Ham. I think he's going to be off to Liverpool to join his Brazilian mates soon.
Ooh. Peach is in the chat. Peach, I hear from my sources you're not very well at the moment, so hope you get hope you get better soon, my man. Villa player was doing a sponsored role for children in need. Very, very good. Right then, so last game, quick fire prediction. That's all we want. Wolves versus Everton. Shaun. No, we'll go Josh first. Oh my lord.
For Grandad, I'm probably gonna have to go with an Everton win. So and I don't like Wolves after they beat it. A bit of a derby to Villa after what they done to us the other week. So I'm probably gonna go 2-1 to Everton. And scoring, I don't know, all the best players are injured, so I'm just gonna say that.
And Shaun, quick fire prediction.
Oh, I go for a 2-2. You never know what you're going to get with Wolves, and Everton have been quite inconsistent the last few weeks, haven't they? So yeah, go 2-2. I think you might have a good game tonight, but probably the two teams not at their best.
Yeah. There we go, Josh. Thank you very much for coming on, in despite of your defeat at the weekend. And Shaun, thank you very much as always for coming on and shedding the light. And you get a thank you from Grandad for your prediction there, Josh. There we go. Thank you very much for watching. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to West Ham Official if you're new around here. Josh, Shaun, thank you very much. I will see you next week. Head over now to West Ham Reunited, where I'm going to be chatting to Andy about the game last night. And cheers, lads. Come on, guys.
Bye-bye.
I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.